This morning we're looking at Joshua chapters 10 and 11. Israel rescues Gibeon. Now, if you remember from Joshua chapter 9, Gibeon had deceived Israel, entered into a treaty. The other city-states, they didn't like this because Gibeon might lead kind of a snowball effect. They kind of enter into a treaty with Israel. They give their allegiance to Israel. Other city-states from our coalition, from our community, from our alliance might filter away. We're going to make an example out of Gibeon. This is the same kind of dynamic. This is a very, unfortunately, fallen human dynamic. Someone's going against our way of thinking. We're going to use force to keep our group together. We see that sometimes in kind of a cult mentality, right? Someone goes to leave that, and those cult members ostracize or use other tactics we're going to make life miserable for you, or we're going to harm you in some way to either get you to come back, or at least, if nothing else, make the rest of us, who some of us might not be so sure, stay put. Joshua leads Israel to the defense of Gibeon. They were in a treaty with them. And battle ensues. God miraculously intervenes to not just give, but to extend the victory of the Israelite army, so that these armies are completely routed. The end of the battle, 5 kings are killed, city-states are conquered, and then what we read, if you kind of had a map beside you and you could plot that, things out, basically the southern half of the promised land here is just systematically taken. And then, as we continue chapter 11, we see a coalition, same kind of grouping of northern city-states are fought and defeated, and the land is conquered. Again, this phrase total destruction, I mentioned this yesterday. But again, as we're going to read later in Judges and then further books of history, there's still these Canaanite people there. So total destruction is never was genocide. This is a cultural expression, largely kind of undergirding that there's a people that have been defeated, their political power, their political influence has been broken. The issue here is now Israel has control of the area. But as we'll read, there will continue to be pockets of Canaanite peoples requiring Israel to continue to kind of move out or kind of expand into over the generations. These passages, again, can be as trouble, can be struggling from the context of how do we process this as Christians? Because we don't live in a Christian nation. That's a phrase that's unfortunately overused and wrongly used. The New Testament never talks about a Christian nation as a political kind of entity, like with borders and things of that nature, like Canada or Nigeria. The Christian nation, so to speak, is the people of God, the church, which is in every country, in every nation, every tribe, every tongue. We're to be the correct great unifier, not build borders and build divisions like what our political nations do. Not that all of that is wrong. It's different kingdoms and how they work differently. And the kingdom of God is not one that is to be bound by political borders, in the sense of I have less in common with another Canadian citizen who is not a follower of Jesus than I do with a Nigerian citizen who is a follower of Jesus. They are my brother or sister, the believer in Nigeria. I am more connected with them than I am with any follower, non-follower of Jesus who may share Canadian citizenship, because we operate with different values. We operate for different rulers and authorities. And so there's a difference then of how do we apply these military texts, because there is no Christian army. And so these are things, again, to process. And so it's a thing of how do we, quote unquote, fight as Christians? It shouldn't be for the politics of our nation, just as one example. It's for, to use a title from a book I read back in Bible college that greatly influenced me, we're to work towards the politics of Jesus and how Jesus did that. And that's a study that we're going to keep looking at through the rest of this book. Not talking Joshua here, the whole of the scriptures together. So if there's questions that come from these chapters, again, love to hear them. Get in touch with me and love to interact. As you process today, wherever God is leading you, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.